I have Mustafa Sullivan. I read the book, The Coming
Hmm.
Wave. I mean, like I said, I've listened to just about every interview on any kind of AI person, all of Sam Altman's stuff, Elon's, whatever. I try to stay on top of it. I'm not an expert, but I really try to stay on top of it. You get some people that's like, "Ah, it's going to be fine. We'll create new jobs. Stop worrying." And then you got the other people over here, 300 million jobs eliminated, and everybody's
Hmm.
going to be on universal basic income. Like, okay, so where are you, Beth, in there? What's your prediction?
So, um, I was up at a really fantastic AI forum in the middle of UN week in New York City. It was
Cool.
nuts.
All right,
Like
cool.
way too many people in that city. And there was about 30, 40 of us, ex chief data officers or chief AI officers or CEOs. And the most relevant speaker for me was the CEO of Sam's Club. And he came on and he was like, we have automated over 400,000 tasks and added over 400 associates to our company. And the companies that know and understand and have the necessity, Walmart, 600,000 people on a monthly basis, hiring and firing. You know how
Okay,
much that costs that organization,
totally.
right? Sam's Club, Costco. Costco is a great one to think about. Costco treats their employees great,
But they
and
still
because
have high turnover.
but they still have high turnover.
Yeah.
So solving that problem by automating the robot out of the human and automating and giving like for my team, and I had over 200 data scientists, data engineers, data analysts. Like I've had big teams. I'm sure you've dealt with a lot of
Yeah.
people who've had,
Yeah. Yeah.
lots of headcount, lots of people. Um, if you can automate and give bounties to the people who automate themselves out of a job, you have an employee for life if you reward that person with a career. And that is something that we all need to really think about because the idea of work is going to change. The idea of what having a job is going to change. The idea of corporations that treat their people like toilet paper, like they're not going to be so popular because we all have a choice in who we choose to work with, who we choose to work for, who we choose. So I'm part of a one of the things that IBM did real well is they really incentivized us to form patent teams and to do lots of patenting. And
Okay.
I have over 50. Some of my friends have over 500.
Nice.
And there's like Steve, there's only about 5.5 million of us in the world that hold patents.
I didn't
And
know that.
we
Interesting
all
stat.
know each other. And I'm working with this really cool company called IDS. I can give you the
Okay.
link. And
Okay.
they've got a website that just shows like all of the connections between us because we're all connected in one way, shape, or form or another. Companies used to say, well, we own all these patents because we paid for them. But wouldn't you rather have the people who built the patents as opposed to work with the company that just owns the patents and paid for them?
Mhm.
So think about how that's going to switch in our economy and our economy of ideas and our economy of like of what it means to develop and innovate. And I mean, if you're following this, like AI, it's like whiplash. There's something new every day,
Every day. Yeah.
every day. But you know what? I'm like, it's just it's a remix of an old idea onto a new thing. And so we're just in that part of the spiral that's going real fast. But I also think that we're amplifying things where we as human beings were not meant to know what's going on at China every day. Like we were not built for that type of information kind of systems. And that information is served up by companies with agendas that may or may not match yours. So I think, I always try to give examples in a way because I don't have I don't have a well-formed, like really quippy sentence to say, the future of AI is going to be, but I can declare, I think the future of AI is going to be compassionate, because I think we're going to come back to the fact that our children need somebody to care for them and teach them. Our elders need somebody to care for them and teach them. Like you kind of turn back into that infant and toddler when you get a little bit older and things are changing too fast. So it's like, how do we solve for this demographic wave that we have coming, where we're going to have the largest amount of old people and the largest amount of young people that we've ever seen?
Mm.
And how do we do that with people getting displaced because of hurricanes and, getting like, I living in Florida, you are real close to nature. You understand what it's going to be. We had beach houses fall into the ocean. I mean, this is not like incidental. So I think if we build AI correctly and we teach AI and we decide that the relationship that we want with AI is to augment us, I think we'll be just fine.
Okay, so we will not all be on the universal basic income, and robots will not do everything.
Come on, you know this. You distribute all the wealth in the world. That's not going to solve crap. You got to also distribute the work, because people got to work to feel good.
Do they? That's a good question. Let's talk about that. I heard
Do
an
you? I mean, at
let
57,
let's let
don't you
I
want to work?
no,
I mean,
I hear you, but I heard this other side of it the other day. This lady, I can't remember, trying to remember her name. And she called bullshit on all that.
oh no shit, right? That's
Yeah,
great.
she was like, we're not meant to work all the time. She goes, hey, if I can play golf and go camping and go hiking and go see my aunt and go to my kid's soccer game and go to the
Oh, see,
movies.
I'd call that work. I'd call that networking on the golf course. I'd
Okay.
call that like socializing with the elder generation, teaching, understanding, figuring out
Okay.
what they need. I'd call like
Right,
interaction
right.
with like, people going to movies. That's like educating them on popular culture.
Maybe we're meant to do all that instead of setting a cubicle between 8 and 5.
Yes, there you go. That I completely agree with. But you got to distribute how a human being can add value to a community.
So that's
Because
the
if you,
problem, and
yeah,
that's the problem. How do we reconstruct the whole economic system if that happens, right? And so I hear a lot of people say, "Cool, AI and robotics replaces a lot of mundane jobs. A lot of people don't have to work, so they do get to go play golf and go hiking all the time." But how do you now what do you do? How does that economic system work? And I think that's a big challenge. Now I've heard all kinds of things. I've heard an AI robotics tax on the giant companies where the money flows out to the people. I've heard all kinds of ideas. Um, I don't know how it's going to turn out. I'm like you, like I don't know.
yeah.
It's very hard to predict. Um, but there are a lot of very smart people, a lot smarter than me, predicting major job loss. And
Well, again, the people who are afraid typically have something to be afraid about. So the people who might be predicting the job loss,
mhm,
it is gonna change the nature of jobs and work, and as you said, it's our economic system that's going to change.
I think so.
Yeah, and I think, what I want is everybody, and I know this, it's it's so flipping hard to get people to understand what is the problem that you really want to solve, because the problem that we're solving right now is we're spending 1,000 to $1 in making AI more powerful, with only $1 making AI more safe. I don't think I don't want the smartest people in the world trying to solve the problem on making AI more powerful. Like I want to make,
Yeah.
I want to get 500 of those dollars making AI more safe and practical, what I'm doing. Cause like
Yeah.
that makes more sense to me.